Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for The Amazing Spider-Man issue 10. And that's definitely an interesting cover with Gwen and Peter like that. And the thing is, this actually does have an adequate explanation for what is going on here in the issue. It's nuts. It's like, alright, what kind of weird thing are we going to get here? Another clone, another kind of thing like that. And that's not to the creative team's detractment. It's just you always get that kind of thing. Oh, what are they going to do now? And they do a very good thing with this. Like, this is a really good tie-in issue to Judgment Day, and I really enjoyed this issue because of what they were able to do with it. So we pretty much get into the issue. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on with the progenitor and Judgment Day. And the thing is, even though I haven't been reading that stuff, I do know what's been going on with it, and they do a good job of just getting everybody kind of like up to speed, seeing how the general thing's kind of going. This dude pretty much trying to help this old lady to do, like, it's funny. They're saying that people are sometimes going completely and utterly asshole, while others are doing, like, random acts of kindness and everything. And, like, what's going to happen at the end of 24 hours? Some news like there won't be tomorrow. The newscasters are trying to figure out if they'll be okay. One of them pretty much like, one of them's like objectively positive or at worst morally neutral. It's like, I don't know. Our stories are violent on average, and if we accept advertising money, aren't we monetizing that? And then they're like, oh geez, and we see Peter on the phone. Now, granted, this art style at first I was like, that is a definite interesting look for Peter. It's just kind of more long. Like, his face just is longer to me, but I really actually started liking the art style as we started going through. And Pete's like, is this actually happening? As he's talking to Iron Man, which, by the way, whenever I see, like, other characters in other comics, especially with, like, Iron Man and, like, the tech stuff, I really like the Iron Man armor, like how it's done here. It just is consistent with what's been going on, and it just looks nice. And he just pretty much gives the whole thing. It's like, yep, we woke up a Celestial, and first order of business was to put all of humanity under judgment. And it's like, it's omnipresent, watching, judging. Sometimes he appears as himself, sometimes a person from your past. That's about all I've got. Okay, so if somebody who should be dead shows up and stares at me in a very judgmental way, I'm probably not crazy. This particular instance, no. Why do you ask? No reason. As we then see that the whole thing with the whole Gwen Stacy thing is that the progenitor took the Gwen Stacy form and then is judging Peter. It's like, okay. And this is handled very well because Peter's freaking the fuck out throughout most of this issue. We see Randy pretty much being like, listen, I need my tux for my wedding. He's like, you're still doing that? You don't see anybody, nobody there. And he's like, okay. Randy, what about the whole Celestial thing? Janice doesn't really believe in that, but she's going to murder me if I don't get a tux. And Pete at first tries to back out, but he of course promises, like, yeah, I guess that's important, especially with today because it's a wedding thing, as the progenitor watches on. And he of course is like, yeah, this is the tux because of what Pete did. He said, so you work up this word. It's like, yeah, somebody's going to need to buy a tux. And the old dude's like, I don't know what the Celestial values are. Maybe doing it on a stage work in bizarre circumstances really floats its boat. It's like, yeah, we don't know how it's judging the people. That's the whole kind of thing. Great point. Either way, I appreciate it. How are you going to spend the rest of your day, Pete? I don't know. Maybe I'll see if Aunt May needs anything as he looks over. And then it just sees him kind of like helping Aunt May out, fixing the faucet and everything. Great to see her. And that he's going to check on a few more people, and that he just loves her. And she's like, try to make sure that she's okay. She's like, yep, you can guess it, but doesn't really bother me at all, as we see the progenitor as Uncle Ben to her, and just acting really nice. It's like, there you go, Aunt May. He, of course, then checks on J. Jonah Jameson, and he is profusely apologizing to pretty much, like, everyone involved. He's like, I'm sorry. And he's, like, talking to Robbie. Everyone is like, what? He's, like, freaking the fuck out. He's like, I'm down. I'm screwed. It's like, Okay, you're always a good guy. You always did what you thought was right at the time, even if you went about it in terrible ways. Yes, that has to be quantified, and thank you, Peter, for doing that, explaining that very well. And for those times, what you thought was right was hurt me. I forgive you. Really? Yep. As Pete then forgives him for all this stuff because we have seen that he has changed. And then asking him to shout towards the North Pole. We then see him in his Spidey suit, which looks awesome too. He's pretty much trying to talk to Ben, which is the whole kind of chasm scenario, and that he can't shake the feeling that he'd probably just swing by here and maybe he can help him, and that's Pete. He just wants to help people. That's the whole thing. He figured out power and responsibility, and he wants to help people. He's like, we should go. I'm wasting time. And then he goes and he checks on Miles, and this was really kind of cool. I mean, that's really awesome right there. I really like the art style with the suits. And again, now granted, even though that's what I go back to the beginning, talking about the mechanical Iron Man suits, this just hits really well as we see that Miles and Pete capture the Rocket Racer, and he just wanted to see him and say that he's proud, to share this job with you. This name is like, you too, man, you too. And it's just a really good moment between the two. It's like, yeah, that's awesome. And then we see that Pete's trying to go to sleep. He's like, all right, you're just gonna stand there. All right, suit yourself. I'm gonna sleep like a baby. And the thing is that you get the expressions very well of like, I'm creeped the fuck out by this. And of course he gets a call that they're going to be doing their testing and stuff today. He's like, today? All right. He tried to do a little lie, but he's like, no, I'll see you in an hour. Okay, I guess we're going to work. As he then pops in to see Kamala Khan there, and the prototype's evidently ready to go as soon as Norman, and he's like freaking out because he doesn't want Norman to kind of be brought into this. Then, of course, Pete's trying to do stuff with more tests, but then she said, but you said you'd trust me to say when this was ready. I was like, yeah, I did say that. If you say it's ready, we're ready. And then she's like, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you. I thought I should say that with everything going on. I appreciate you, Kamal, for real. All right, team, then we see as the progenitor, Gwen Stacy's looking on as we get Norman popping up. And this art style really fits on making Norman look fucking creepy as shit. And of course, Pete starts freaking out. It's like, oh shit. We see that the Gwen starts kind of freaking out. Pete's like, Norman, leave now. And of course, Pete's face is freaked out. It's like, alright, I'll be in my office. Gwen. As he's trying to explain to Gwen, and she's kind of like floating off. So he goes to kind of like figure that shit out as Kamala has Captain Marvel pretty much looking on her. And she's like, you saw me be nice to him, right? So then we pretty much see Pete trying to explain everything to the Gwen progenitor thing. It's like, I know you're not Gwen, not really. I'd feel it if you were. Maybe you're my memories of her. Maybe the Celestial knew how often I asked myself what Gwen would think of me, and I've lived my life since she died. And then he pretty much explains like the whole situation. So we don't get the complete, concrete kind of details, but we get at least enough to get more breadcrumbs, which I at least appreciate because that didn't have to happen in a tie-in issue. Evidently, he lost someone he loved a while back. He wanted to do everything to get her back. Classic kind of Spidey kind of thing. Not everyone agreed with his tactics. In fact, no one did, and I couldn't find anyone to help except Norman. He helped me, and no, it didn't work out the way I wanted, but he tried, which is kind of cool. That Norman would do that, and he at least tried to do something helpful for somebody. Now he's gotten a chance at a fresh start, and he's trying to be a good man. The way I see it, it's my responsibility to help him. It's my responsibility to keep him from becoming the man who killed you. Do you understand? I'm doing this because I still love you. Oh, wow. And it's like, that's a powerful fucking thing. Like, this is what a good tie-in does. Like, we at least get some powerful kind of stuff about what's been going on since the beginning of this run, while also putting it with this progenitor judging humanity. And this is a big thing on the character of Peter. Because if the progenitor doesn't have that information, just going through, I'd be like, Peter is working with the person that has caused him most suffering and everything. Would he not be helping this person create more suffering for other people if they don't understand that that person has changed or has attempted to change? So then we get that the progenitor actually does start judging Peter, saying that saying that the being has seen his heart and sees that it's full, open, alive. It shines so brightly it blinds you and baffles the mind of man. And so I judge you worthy, and so receive my gift. And then we see that Gwen is here. It's like I can tell that it's you. And of course she's like, where have I been? I've been somewhere for a long time. What happened to you, Peter? You're older. Yeah, I am. Gwen, I'm sorry. I don't know how to say what to say to you. Me neither, except I sure have missed you. And he missed her too as he's crying. It's like, damn. It's like, this is actually pretty effective. And she's like, I'm leaving, Peter. He says he just wanted to give us a moment to see that beautiful heart of yours open. And it's like, now granted, that is a literary trope and cliche, but it still is effective because it's done and executed well and right. Of course, this celestial being sees and deems Peter worthy, and he says, what a day, as she disappears. It's like, yeah, because that would be a big thing to reintroduce Gwen Stacy completely, and what kind of ramifications and fallout that would have. It's like, but still, that is an act of kindness. This celestial being gave something to Peter that it didn't have to. And that can show that you can be kind about things. And then we see that Norman's freaking the fuck out. And of course the art style fits for this, showing him just like crazy. He was talking to her. She was real. Stop, Norman. Pull it together. You're fine. Everything is fine. As we see that Gwen has been judging him as well. And how important that kind of is. Alright. So then evidently we're pretty much going to be back to kind of like our normally scheduled program, except that the Hobgoblin's going to be involved. So I'm always kind of iffy on kind of tie-in issues with big kind of events going on, especially when we have like an arc that I'm really fucking interested in, like Spidey, what did he do, what's going to be happening, and all that kind of stuff, and what we'll learn about what happened, what's going on with Norman, what's going on with Chasm, what did Peter do. I'm glad we got at least a little bit more concrete. We get like at least a little bit of an explanation of why Peter was working with Norman. So this framing device of the progenitor, and especially being Gwen Stacy, worked out very well to actively communicate that to us. I'm like, damn, that is using the tie-in and the event very well to actually work in well with the events of what's going on in your comic. Because normally what happens is they try, with most kind of tie-ins, to put the events stuff more in the forefront rather than the actual art. This is a nice blending of the two. You always want to balance. You don't want to be like completely ignoring it and be like, hey, there's a fucking celestial judging people. It's like, yeah, that should be pretty fucking addressed. This does that well, and I'm very glad that they do it and execute it very well, and was an enjoyable issue. And I can't wait to see what happens next and what new information we get. Though granted, it needs to be moving at least a little bit more. This gave us some, but can we please get a little more? So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.